LandWarz.com.
Welcome to the Land Wars. I'm your host, Dre. With me I have Elijah, and I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. His name speaks for itself. They call him Big Shot Derek. Please introduce yourself.
What's going on? My name is Derek. I went to school with these cats. Um, More focused on the basketball side of things. Um, Played a year in college. Played in high school. Uh, Point guard, shooting guard. Uh, right now, got playing in a league now. G League aspirations at some point. Um, I'm here. I'm here on LandWarz now.
Okay. You didn't speak the fact that in high school they used to call you, Big Shot Derek. You used to hit like about 21 threes in a row. Somebody said they spotted you doing it once. I ain't gonna say no names, but somebody said that you did it once. So
uh, in practice, I have, yeah. But Big Shot is generous. Money team, Derek, whatever you want to call it. I'm pretty humble about it.
okay. We didn't have Frankie or Sean with us today, but we're gonna jump right into the hot take. So Elijah, I'm gonna let you go with this first because this is your specialty, the NFL side of things. Did JJ Watt handle it the right way? His contract situation with the Texans. Did he handle that the right way?
Personally, I feel like he handled it the best way he knew how to handle it, and I never question a man's motives or reason for doing what they do. I don't think he did. I mean, he didn't do no James Harden type shit. You know what I'm saying? He absolutely gave that organization the best he could. Um, it wasn't no Antonio Brown type shit. So, I mean, I think he did it the best way he could. Um, but as far as the organization goes, I mean, it got to be addressed how Houston handles their star guys and their history of handling their star guys, and it's the reason why they haven't been able to ever get over the hump.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just don't know how to handle those big time players.
Now, what team does you think he fits best? It's teams with strong interest. They already got a bet system on them already. What team do you think, in your opinion, he fits best?
I mean, what is he, 32 now? I think JJ still has some in the tank. I just don't think he's the pass rusher that people want him to be anymore, and that's okay. I think he's at a point in his career where he should play more inside. He should be a three technique, and I think he could give guards around the league a lot of issues. That being said, I think he would fit in perfectly in Cleveland. I know I've heard that rumor being floated around, and I mean, you got a guy who come up the middle and create a lot of havoc, and he'll flush a lot of quarterbacks out the pocket. And who are they going to run into? You dig what I'm saying? So I think Cleveland would be a great fit for him.
Okay, I can see that too. I think Cleveland would be perfect for him. I can also see Green Bay, him going back, to his college roots. But in my opinion, unbiasedly biased, I'm gonna say Cleveland. Derek, what's your weigh in on this?
Um, Honestly, my heart is gonna say Cleveland. Elijah makes a lot of good points as far as flushing these quarterbacks out, especially when you run up against a team like Baltimore, and you got to flush Lamar Jackson out. He's either going. I mean, hopefully we can get Olivier Vernon back healthy. Um, but if you got JJ Watt coming up the middle and you running up, on either side, you got Myles Garrett coming at you full speed, or Olivier or Ogunjobi or whoever on that monster D line, it's going to be a problem. Um, that's JJ Watt will be, more of a veteran voice on that D line because it's the oldest guy, maybe Olivier Vernon. I want to say. So you got a defensive player of the year guy coming in and bringing some leadership to that defensive line. It's going to be a problem. They need to address that linebacker situation.
Yes.
I think before they really worry about that D line. My mind is saying Tampa.
Oh,
I did hear Tampa was in the running for that Watt brother there, which I don't like because I don't want Brady to have any more
right.
help than what he already has. But I think he would be a good fit in Tampa because that defense in that Super Bowl showed you that they can create a lot of havoc.
Definitely. And if you add that to that defense, that might be one of the best defenses ever.
Yeah, that's nasty. I don't want to see it, but I do like it for, let's just say, Madden purposes.
All right, we gonna move on to another league it's an injury that's the injury bug has been plaguing the NBA this year. Bad. Other than the COVID shit, the injury bug in the NBA has been fucking people up. Anthony Davis is the latest one. Achilles tendonitis. Derek, how does this fit? Like, how does this, make the Lakers in the long run, like season wise? How does this hurt them?
It hurts because you got to think a lot of these top teams have 3 consistent 18, 20 plus point scorers on their team. I don't necessarily see that with the Lakers. I mean, you got maybe Schroeder will be the next best scorer on the Lakers, but on the interior, when you're in the West, you got to run up against Jokic. You got San Antonio in the playoffs. You got LaMarcus Aldridge down there. You got Gobert down there that can create problems, defensively. So, and then you got a young team in Boston. Granted, the Lakers make it back to the finals. You got Brooklyn that by the time the playoffs come, and they start getting that chemistry together. You got that 3-headed monster that you got to deal with and stop defensively. It's tough, but that tendinosis is definitely worse than tendonitis. Tendonitis is more of a inflammatory thing that kind of goes away within a couple of weeks. Tendinosis, that could take 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers don't have a lot of that time. That's structural damage to that tendon. And with Anthony Davis being as mobile as he is, that's definitely gonna hurt because he was already kind of playing suspect this year. Now he has to worry about, am I gonna blow it? Am I gonna pull a Kobe or a Durant? Granted, he came back, but that's a year you got to sit out in your prime. It's gonna be bad.
Okay, now, on the other side of it, does this help the Lakers in any way?
You could say that it may strengthen, their bench if they can mentally put it together and say, okay, well, next man up mentality, but they got to prove that. I would say it helps LeBron more than it helps the Lakers. Mm-hmm. Not as far as rest, because obviously they're gonna have to play him more minutes to try to stay at the top of the West. But as far as MVP goes, that was a major part that hurt him last year. You had Anthony Davis was on fire. He averaged 29 points, leading scorer, leading rebounder, but now he's not there. So if LeBron can keep the Lakers top 2, top 3, I mean, he's already number 1 now as far as MVP goes. I think he got it.
Okay. I can also, in my opinion, I think it in the long run it's going to hurt them with the little chemistry thing and him already having a leg injury, right? He had a leg injury part of mostly all his career. I think in Kentucky he had a leg injury too, right?
Yeah, I think it was his knee.
I mean, it's just the mental part of it is what I'm trying to say. I can see them trying to go at a big man in the trade before the trade deadline, like a Drummond, or somebody like that, like a big veteran, like the Heat used to do, when LeBron was there. But on the other side of this, Elijah, what you think? Does this hurt? How does this hurt the Lakers?
I think Derek said it all. Honestly, it's just the injury like that. Whereas it may start off as kind of like no big deal. Later down the line, as you continue to play on it, and you continue to, possibly agitate it, it could become a bigger issue. Just that alone, you know what I'm saying? That Achilles is nothing to play with. That's something that it's almost like how knees are in football. You just can't play with that. AD's he's a great player. He's a strong dude, and I think when he comes back, he's going to have a fire lit under him. But it's still going to be that thought in the back of his mind, like if I come down wrong, if I make the wrong type of, you know what I'm saying. And the thing about those Achilles tears is you can't really, gauge what causes it or anything like that. So we just hope to God that don't happen, because he's such a great player. We would hate to see that happen to him. Just like I'm sure we all hated to see it happen to, Kobe and KD and guys like that. You just hate to see that type of stuff. But I think it will help the Lakers actually more than it'll hurt them. Just because while he's out, you get time to really see what these, secondary players are made of. And, that I think that's going to give LeBron a lot of peace of mind to know that he can trust other guys to step up. Yeah. Sure, played really good tonight. I don't know if y'all saw the game, but he dropped 24 and he was balling. So I think, LeBron needs to see other guys step up. And also, like Derek said, it helps LeBron as far as the MVP race. And I think it would be special for LeBron to win MVP at this age, at this late in his career. And he very well could if he's able to keep them afloat during this period and put up some big numbers and have some big games. I think it's going to really make a case for him.
Okay, I see your point there. Now moving on to another NBA discussion. Draymond Green recently discussed his frustration with, teams, all NBA teams, being able to sit their guys while they're looking for, trade suitors, like Andre Drummond with the Cavs. Elijah, I'll let you start this one off. What's your feelings toward that?
I agree with Draymond. Honestly, I mean, I just think there's always been a double standard, where teams kind of have the freedom to manipulate situations and manipulate how they handle players, however they want. For instance, the Andre Drummond situation, that they can just decide to sit that man, all the hard work he's put in going into the season, and you could just sit a guy because you want to trade him. But if the roles is reversed and Andre Drummond say, I want to trade, I'm going to sit. I'm not going to play. I'm not going to show up to games. I'm not going to show up to practices. Then he would get killed as a player. And they would call him a locker room cancer and all of these different things. So it's like, why do teams get to lack loyalty to players and it's okay? but players must remain loyal to the teams. And that's why, you got to commend players for taking their career into their own hands and going to play where they want to play, because these teams ultimately have no loyalty to these players. If they don't feel like you're producing, if they don't feel like you're what they need, if they don't feel like, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case may be, they can just decide to trade you. They can decide to sit you, whatever. And it's okay. Nobody trips about it. It's a part of the business. So it should also be a part of the business for players to be able to have that freedom to do what they want to do too.
That's true, and I think the NBA Players Association, they need to go at that hard this coming off season to get that pointed out, because, like you said, that takes away from the players' whole mentality, their character, their way of life. I mean, you get shipped off to another city. What if you just sign with a team? They ship you all the way to Toronto, and you all the way in like Miami. You got to move your family all across the whole country into another country. But Derek, what's your thing on this? How you feel about it?
Well, from the let's say from the owner's aspect, they don't look at the players as, I want to say, more like, players look at players more like family. So when they start building that bond and start building that chemistry with each other, they tend to want to keep that, especially if they're in a place in an environment where they want to be. Mm-hmm. Owners don't care about that. They're looking at it like this is a job. So we worked together before. So the company we work for, if we decided we didn't want to go to work, what's gonna happen? You get fired.
Yeah.
Now, not even just them, they'll be mad about it. But now you got people that find out that you just stopped going to work, your family, your wife. That now everybody coming down on you. But then if the roles were reversed and they told you to stay home because they were thinking about getting rid of you, now you losing out on your livelihood. You losing out on money to feed your family. But they don't look at it like that. Honestly, if you have a player signed for however, however amount of time that you have him for, even if you're thinking about trading them, let them play. You're willing to sacrifice a player like Andre Drummond that's giving you 13 and a half rebounds a game because you want to get rid of him, because you trying to ship him out somewhere else. I would let him play until the trade is finalized and they go through. And to be honest, I don't think Cleveland would want him, but if I was the Lakers, I would go for Andre Drummond.
Mm-hmm.
and try to ship out Gasol somewhere, because Gasol isn't really producing anything. But at least you get another big man in there that can help clean the boards for you.
True, that's true, and they need that. They need that bad, especially messing with Utah.
Yep,
man.
And I don't even think AD is averaging 10 boards a game. I don't think so. So yeah, I think Elijah said it best though. It definitely needs to be addressed in the off season.
Definitely. Now staying with the NBA, add-on question. What's up with Brooklyn's defense? I want y'all opinions on this like badly. This could be historically the worst in NBA history. 120 points a game almost.
Yeah.
That's terrible. Derek, please weigh in on how they can change this and what's going on.
Well, you put a team together that was built to outscore probably anybody in the league. James Harden, last couple of years, has been averaging 33, 30, 35. KD scoring champ. That's an easy 30 point night for him. Kyrie can get hot, when he ain't burning sage and carrying on him, whatever else he got going on. But nobody in the league can stop Kyrie. But you sacrifice defense. Kyrie has never been a defensive player. James Harden is a joke on defense. Now, last year he was top of the league in I want to say steals.
He was steals,
yeah. But a lot of that was off ball. So he's not locking nobody up one-on-one. KD was a decent defender in Golden State, but that's not his goal right now, especially coming off of that injury. You brought in DeAndre Drummond, not DeAndre Drummond, DeAndre Jordan to be your rim protector. He ain't been the same since the Clippers, since Live City. So and he's aging, he's slower, he's not jumping as high. So your best defender is probably who? Jeff Green, and Jeff Green probably coming off the bench. So unless you try to bring some kind of guru or somebody in there to preach defense, I don't know. You might have to bring Ray Lewis in one time to preach some defense, or try to clean. You might have to try to clean your bench out during that trade deadline and try to pick up some defensive guys. They just made a pickup. I cannot remember who. It was a familiar name, but he okay on defense, but they're trying to address it because even that back-to-back game against Cleveland,
man,
you go you lose both of them, but you give up almost 300 points in 2 nights. That's not a recipe for success, especially going up against teams in the West.
Cool. Definitely.
Yeah. So I don't know. I like them. They're a fun team to watch, but I don't. I honestly don't. I see them going 7 games with maybe Philly, but I probably have Philly taking it out. They're a more well-rounded team.
True. I can see them being active in this trade deadline too. I mean, I've been hearing they've been trying to ship out Joe Harris. Joe Harris is an intriguing, he could be a solid bench player, 6-man for a playoff team or a team in need. They just need to do something. I don't care if it's a damn center that all he do is defense. The center is always on defense. And it's just they need to do something. Elijah, what's your take on this?
I like the Nets as a team. I don't like the defensive aspect though, and I don't think anybody does. It's terrible. It's atrocious. But we can't lie. That's still a scary team. Defense or not.
Yeah.
Them 3 dudes they got on offense are special. And I was just looking up the scores tonight, and the Nets just won, and Kyrie and Kevin Durant didn't even play. James Harden went off, and Joe Harris dropped 22. Jeff Green had 18. Like they can put up points, we know that, but to make a deep playoff run, at some point you have to be able to lock down on defense. During certain stretches. We're not expecting them to be the motherfucking Bulls, the 90s Bulls defensively or anything like that. But during stretches of the game, you have to be able to lock in and defend. And I just don't see that from them unless they playing not so great teams. But I still think that they have a lot of time to make the necessary moves they need to make. They're a team that every team that has to play them is going to be scared. They're going to have to worry because Kyrie, like Derek said, nobody in the league got anything coming with Kyrie. Kyrie is dropping everybody.
Or KD.
And KD is just KD. That dude is he in a whole nother stratosphere, man. Like it's really him and LeBron just right there. And y'all know I love LeBron to death, but I gotta be real. They right here, man. It's like this with them two. It's just LeBron just able to do a little bit more as far as passing the ball, defending, and all the other aspects. But when it comes to scoring points, KD's special, and we know James Harden is special when he needs to be. But yeah, to make a long deep run in the playoffs, like Philly would be a challenge because you got Embiid who will eat up whoever the Nets have down there. Whoever they got in the paint is getting ate up by Embiid.
Yep.
Embiid might drop 40 a night on them. he might put up Shaq numbers, like for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got to think Doc Rivers got that team transitioning, and then they go through Embiid. The ball goes, the offense runs around Embiid. So it's like, man, you right. He could have put up 40, probably 50 points a game.
Yeah. But I still want to see what the Nets going to do, though. I'm interested to see it. They play the Lakers coming up, Thursday?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, right.
That's going to
be a good one.
That's going to be NBA Twitter's, game of the year.
Yeah. And I know everybody's going to overreact.
You know it.
Because there's no AD. But I don't know. I don't think it'll be a blowout.
I don't think so either.
It probably won't.